morning, good morning, good morning, love bugs, badasses, and beautiful souls. Give me just a second to get this shared out so that you'll know that I am live. And then I'm going to dive in. If you are catching this on the replay, make sure that you say that in the comments. Tell me how you're doing. Tell me where you're from. If this is your first time being able to watch one of my videos, let me know who you are. What are you doing in your healing journey, your journey of self, right? I always love to catch up with you guys and check in with you, build those relationships and that rapport. So if you don't know, you're about to know. I am Jasmine, also known as the Healing One, owner of I Am Healing One LLC. I am your favorite spiritual health and wellness expert and that crystal lady. So today we are going to talk more about something that I mentioned yesterday. If you have not caught video 1 and 2, make sure you go back and check those out, because I am doing a series of videos talking about the self-love journal. Oops, hit the computer. The self-love journal that I created and released, and just diving deeper into the different ways that you can use it, explaining some of the parts of it, and ways that you can really personalize the journey for yourself, sharing tips and tricks. So one of the sections that I wanted to talk about, and let me go back into the table of contents to make sure I'm saying it right. So one of the sections I wanted to talk about was fertility energy. Yeah, and I called it the energy of fertility in the book. It is the 1, 2, 3. It is the 3rd section in the book. So as I broke down before, the book is sectioned off in 30-day segments. Each section or each 30-day segment has its own focus and intention, and it is all curated and cultivated to help you go through an entire year of falling in love with yourself or recommitting to loving yourself, wherever you are in that journey. If you've never known what that feels like, or if you're pretty good in it and just want to deepen it, it's still for you. So the energy of fertility, or using the energy of fertility to create the life that you want, is something that I have been sharing a little bit more over maybe the last year or two. I've been talking about it a little bit here and there, because it's something that I have really been invested in, I guess is a good word to say, as I use it for myself. And I want to talk about it more and explain it more, because a lot of people hear that for fertility word, that F word, and you get scared, especially women, but some men too, like, ain't trying to have no baby. Listen, y'all. Listen, Linda, listen. Fertility is not solely about having a baby, conception, birthing a physical baby out of, your body as the woman, or helping a woman to conceive and co-creating a child. Fertility is life. Fertility is your womb space. Literally, we just talked about this very in depth in the I Empower Womb Healing Retreat, the virtual edition that we just finished up almost 2 weeks ago. And that is a huge conversation that I have been working to cultivate more and more safe space, sacred space, healing space for men and women to talk about, because I truly believe that we all need to be doing womb healing, right? Whether you're man, woman, doesn't matter. We all need to be doing womb healing, because we all have that womb space within us. We all have life creating organs within us, but we also have the seat of life within us, that womb space, right? That sacral chakra. And that means that we need to be intentionally healing, intentionally using, intentionally tapping into that space to create the life that we desire, whether you want to call it law of attraction, manifesting, co-creating, whatever you identify it as, because there's no one way to describe it or one right way to go about it. However you choose to identify it or see it or acknowledge it, if it works for you, keep it up. But whatever you're doing to be intentional about the life that you desire, your womb space, the energy of fertility can be a big part of that. So I think I might have forgotten to grab it. Let me check and see. Oh, I got one. Yay. So I wanted to share with you all a crystal that I love. Let me do that just a little bit, see if that lighting hits a little bit different. This is actually a Carnelian banded agate. And I particularly love that crystal, especially when I'm working to to balance my feminine energy or to sit more in my feminine energy. I've shared with you all my personal struggle, one of them anyway, has been balancing that feminine energy because I operated in a more masculine energy for so long out of self-preservation, self-protection. Um, and it was challenging and sometimes still is very challenging to find that balance for myself of that masculine femininity, that beautiful dance that those two energies need in order to coexist within you, because we're all masculine, we're all feminine. However we identify, with our sexual organs or our physical appearance aside, inside, spiritually speaking, we're all the combination or cultivation of masculine and feminine energies, right? So when I talk about fertility energy, in part, it involves um, finding the best way to bring those two into a coexisting peaceful space for yourself. Whether you want to operate in a more masculine in certain situations, whether you want to operate in a more feminine in certain situations. And that's really where my mindset goes. There's no one that I need to be in all the time. It's really about allowing myself to shift as needed, allowing myself to, pivot and kind of find that dance within any circumstance that I'm in, whether it be professional or personal. And so the energy of fertility allows me to do that because it brings me back to cultivating the life that I want to live. I don't have to be a certain way all the time. I don't have to behave a certain way all the time. I don't have to think a certain way all the time or do a thing a certain way all the time. At every given moment, if I can focus on, I want to intentionally be who I am in this moment. I want to intentionally be the best version of myself, right? I want to intentionally be the fullest expression of myself, meaning I am showing up in my life. I am breathing life into the things that matter. I am not chasing my dreams, but I am becoming my dreams, because I'm always trying to, or let me take that word out, not trying, but I am always intentionally acting in such a way or responding in such a way that it allows me to cultivate the experience, right? So let's give an example, and then I'll talk more about the crystal in a minute, the Carnelian banded agate. Let's give an example how I use fertility energy. In my business, I found that I started to be disgruntled. I started to feel very unsatisfied. I wasn't bitter, but I think I was close to it, if I'm honest. I truly believe that I was getting close to that point because my business had become all about everyone else, how I needed to show up in order to serve clients, how I needed to make it make sense in order to market or promote things, how I needed to make it make sense in order to be able to collaborate with other people or, produce events or do the things that I wanted to do, whether it was writing a book or creating an audio or in a session or, the way that I was putting the crystal shop together, setting up the membership, all the different aspects or expressions of my abilities and gifts via my business, right? It was very focused at one point on, I need to do this because it's my purpose. I have to do this because this is the way that they said that it makes sense. They said I should market this way. They said I should market that way. They said. And that'll make sense if you go back and watch the previous videos when I shared that, for a long time in my life, I was very focused on how I needed to show up for other people. So as I began to revert back to ground zero for myself, base camp for myself, and say, let me refigure this, let me reconfigure this, let me redesign this and redefine this based on getting to know myself. What does that look like? Who am I? What is my voice? What are my thoughts? What are my feelings? What are my needs? What are my emotions or experiences with this? What are my intended and desired outcomes for this, right? As I reconfigured all of that and redefined all of that for myself, I started to kind of brainstorm on this, the journal for a while. It was a project in my mind for years, and But I was still focusing on, well, what's the best way to put it together based on what everybody's saying, based on the expertise, based on what people say works. Although, trying to please all the different people that said they wanted me to do a journal. What makes sense? How can they use it? How can they implement it? What will they like? I brought it all back to ground zero. What is my voice? If I do this, how does it feel for me? What purpose does it serve? What do I get out of it? How do I implement it for myself first and foremost? Because I have to believe in the thing that I'm doing, right? To bring the fertility into it, I thought, how does this help me create the life that I want? How does this help me design the life that I want? How does this allow me to really intentionally and purposefully be the woman, the being, the spirit, the expression of spirit that does this journal, does this work, operates in this business, offers these services, cultivates these products, does these things, not from a place of I'm doing it for them. All those, faceless people out there, all those named people out there, who are in my audience or my customer and my client base. But how do I reflect? If I held up a mirror and I looked at it, how do I do this in a way that it reflects me back to me? My life being inspired through this, cultivated through this, empowered through this, edified through this, right? How do I do this in such a way that it breathes life into me with every breath, with every opportunity? I feel the nurturing, I feel the healing, I feel the beauty or the blissfulness or the growth or the change or the healing of the experience, right? Those were the questions that I started to ask. So if this was, my physical, my not physical, but my spiritual baby, my metaphorical baby, the journal, the business, the things, if these were my spiritual or metaphorical babies, what did I get through the process of nurturing them, carrying them, and then birthing them? What did that need to be in order for it to be fulfilling for me, right? What did it need to be in order to be prosperous for me, not only financially, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, energetically? What did it need to look like in order for me to wake up feeling this is good, right? Because I didn't want to feel the stress or the burden of shit. I got to show up for another session, or I got to pack these orders, or here we go with this, whatever again. I wanted to feel like, I got a session in 5 minutes. Yeah, you know what I mean? I wanted to be excited because, baby, let me go ahead and pack these journals and these crystal orders and get these bad boy shits out. Like, what? So it took me a while to actually write the journal because I didn't feel the fulfillment in it. It took a couple of years, actually, for me to work through that process and revamp some things to get to the place where I felt like now I can create this, I can birth this project out, I can do this, I can hold space for this, I can be this and experience this and feel good in the process. And so when I finally put all the components together, because I had written them in different stages and pieces, when I finally sat down and pulled it all together and did the journal, like there was there was this moment of just breakdown of gratitude and fulfillment. I was ready to birth it out. I was ready to release it into the world and give it to other people, not out of expectation of what I needed from them, but of what it gave me to release it and let it go and put it out there. The bliss, the joy, the fulfillment, the peace of the experience, right? Of sharing that part of myself. And so that's just a little bit of insight into my mind of how fertility shows up for me. Yes, it can absolutely be an energy that you can cultivate to help you with conception, to help you with fertility, male or female, to help you with, carrying your babies, nurturing your babies, to help you prep for labor and delivery, or your partner to support you in labor delivery. After you have the baby or babies, to continue to nurture their little lives growing up into, bigger humans. It absolutely can be used for that. But again, It's not limited to that, right? And so that's why I want to have more of these conversations, because fertility is a beautiful space of life. Think about it. Nothing is conceived, nothing is birthed, nothing is brought into this world without some type of fertility being a part of the process. Whether it be flowers, animals, humans, whatever it is, trees, they all need seedlings, sperm, egg, some sort of engagement in order to cultivate conception and maturation and birthing out. It's always a process when we look at flowers or trees or fruits or veggies in our gardens, on the farms, right? There's still a process that things have to go through to be cultivated and nurtured, prepared to be manifested into tangible readiness or tangible produce or products, right? It's the same thing when you look at your life in general, whether it's wanting to actually have a baby, whether it's going for that job you want, whether it's building that dream house or going on that dream vacation or traveling the 50 states of the US or going on international travels or going on your first cruise or getting married or whatever it is, right? Whatever it is that you desire, there's a process that you have to go through to conceive of the idea, right? You got to think of it, got to process it, got to make it real. Then you got to put the steps in place, implement a strategy, action plan to carry the baby, spiritually speaking or energetically speaking, metaphorically speaking. Nurture it. And then the fulfillment, the fruition of that thing, that experience, or birthing it out. So when you open your mind to the possibilities of how fertility can show up in your life, there's endless opportunity. The sky is never even the limit. The stratosphere is not the limit. Literally, whatever you feel yourself able to achieve, able to accomplish, whatever you perceive yourself ready to do, that's the thing that you're going to set yourself up to do. Mindset really does have a large part to play in how we manifest, how we apply the law of attraction, how we apply any other spiritual law, whatever religious background you come from, whatever cultural or family or community background you come from. Mindset has a huge part to play in operating within the paradigms or the boundaries or the confines of that belief, right? What you think is possible, what you tell yourself is not possible, what you enact, what you choose to believe and hold true for yourself, what you limit yourself or cut yourself off from. Mindset has a large part to play with that. So when you open your mindset to allowing fertility energy to be more than just having a physical baby and opening it up to all these amazing things that you can now apply it to, life changes. Life changes. So this is one of the crystals that I use. Like I said, this is Carnelian banded agate. Carnelian banded agate. I love it. I recommend it to a lot of my ladies that are wanting to cultivate more fertility energy, because again, I've noticed for a lot of, especially when you've dealt with some type of trauma, childhood abuse, relationships, adulthood, it doesn't matter. If you find yourself kind of knocked out of the ease of femininity and always in that masculine, trying to protect yourself, self-preservation, fight or flight, always stressed, always, in strategy mode, go mode, fix it mode, do it mode. This is a crystal that can help you kind of soften that energy and pull yourself back into balance to let the masculine do what it needs to do for you, but also allow that more feminine ease to come in, that more nurturing aspect of yourself to come in and help you cultivate the experience that you want to. Again, that blend of energies to operate in that fertility energy for yourself. For my guys, I recommend it too, because a lot of the times, especially for guys that haven't been shown or educated or nurtured in the ability on how to identify their emotions, how to express their emotions, how to be comfortable with their emotions and allow them to come forth as needed, right? We have a lot of men that are dealing with unhealthy masculinity or toxic masculinity or, imbalanced masculinity. So it's a good piece for them as well to be able to implement and use to, again, find that balance I don't have a piece of stromatolite. Let me see. And this is what I'm digging through, y'all. This is just one of the little bowls that I keep, one of the little bowls that I keep on my desk in order to keep the energy around me that I want. I don't have any stromatolite. That's another one. I'll grab that for another video. But this one is Labradorite. This is another good one that I love. You see that iridescent color? It is so gorgeous. But this is another one that I love to keep close. Labradorite is all about protection. A lot of the times, man or woman, masculine or feminine, a lot of the times we struggle to get in that feminine masculine balance for ourselves. We struggle to sit in that ease for ourselves because we don't feel safe, whether that be emotionally or mentally or spiritually or physically or financially or energetically. For some reason or multiple reasons, we don't feel safe. And when we don't feel safe, it is extremely challenging and almost feels like an uphill battle to create something in ease, because you're in the fight or flight response. You're trying to protect yourself. Your nervous system is overstimulated. Your cognitive processes are just, going crazy. And in the midst of that, you're trying to figure out, well, why can't I manifest? Well, why can't I do that? Well, why is this so hard? Because you are literally constantly in a fight or flight response if you don't feel safe. You're constantly in a stressed space if you don't feel safe, trying to figure out what to do, how to protect yourself, So you can't. You can't create with ease from that space. So Labradorite is a really good one to bring in more ease, more protection, working on that root chakra to bring safety. That's one of the basic needs in the hierarchy, right? We have to feel safe. If we don't feel safe, everything else goes out the window, whether you're a child or an adult, right? So Labradorite is really good to call in for that protection. If you want a crystal of the red color to directly correlate with that root chakra color, you can bring in some red jasper. Some red aventurine is another good one for safety and protection, especially to work on that root chakra. And that works really well when you're working on the sacral chakra to bring in fertility, to bring in that womb healing, to bring in that life-giving energy. Again, to first of all, make sure that you are balanced, make sure that you are safe and healthy and well. If you are not healthy, well, and whole, you're going to be hard pressed to go out there and live an amazing life, because you're always going to find yourself repeating negative patterns, repeating negative cycles, because you're staying in what makes sense for you. You're trying to protect yourself. You're trying to stay safe, right? So when you're working on those two things, safety and fertility, that's a good combination to help you then start to get out there to thrive. Take care of the inner stuff first. Take care of home first, self first. And then you can get out there and thrive out of your safety, out of your comfort zone, and meet new people, do new things, create new adventures, whatever those adventures are for you. So again, fertility energy is a good way to dive in deep and be able to work on manifesting or using the law of attraction or any other spiritual law or religious or spiritual belief that you hold in order to cultivate the life that you truly desire intentionally. Because we're always cultivating life. We're always creating. We're always doing, right? Because we're always being. We're always here. As long as you're taking breath in these lungs and living in this body and waking up every day, you're doing. The task is to do it intentionally, to be intentionally, to act with intention, to create and cultivate, curate the experience that you actually want, not the experience that you're just kind of forcing yourself into, like a square peg into a round hole, trying to make it fit, hoping, wishing, praying that it will fit, and then being mad and upset and bitter because it doesn't fit. Get yourself out of that mode, out of that repetitive cycle, that hurtful cycle, that traumatic cycle, and put yourself in position to intentionally be the version of yourself that you desire. So let me know if this resonated for you guys. And if it does, then I will do more talks on this. I'll dive more into this. You said, hey, yes. Oh, thank you for tuning in, Love Bug. I'm glad it makes sense to you. Yeah. Sorry, I was just seeing the comments. So I'm glad you got a chance to tune in. But yes, if this is resonating for you guys, let me know. And I definitely would love to dive more into this topic, because again, it is something that I have been using consistently for about the last year to 2 years almost to revamp a lot of things in my life, especially as I dive deeper into my self-love journey and intentionally creating the life that I desire for myself and intentionally co-creating in my relationships the life that I desire to have with the people in my life. Just all around, and especially into my business. If that's something that you're interested in, I can absolutely tell you more about how I use the energy of fertility in my business as well. When I dive in, when I'm releasing a project, when I am doing the book, when I am making changes with crystal products or custom jewelry pieces, like all the ways that I use the energy of fertility in my business. If you are ready to dive in and do that work, you can absolutely reach out to us. The main website is iamhealing1.org. The information to reach us for the shop, for the journal, all our services, all that stuff is on the main website. Also on this video, you will see that I linked you to not only the main website, but our membership information. And I believe I have the link directly if you want to purchase the self-love journal as well. Ta-ta-ta-da. There you go. You can see it right there on the screen. That is my baby, my self-love journal, a labor of love for you guys. And yes, I get this question almost every day. Yes, I use it for myself. I absolutely use it for myself. And even though I wrote it and put it together, even as I use it, I'm still getting insights and leaps and bounds and quantum leaping and healing as I do the work for myself, right? So that's just a beautiful experience for me, and I love the feedback that I'm getting from you all as well. So if you have not grabbed it, make sure that you click that link, grab some for yourself, your sister, your mom, your cousin, your bestie at work, your employees, whoever in your life that is invested in themselves, invested in their healing journey, and you want to love on them and support them. This is a beautiful gift that you can offer them. And yes, you can absolutely purchase them wholesale. If you are interested in orders of 10 or 15 or 20 or more, reach out to us and we can work with you to get them to you for your groups, your prayer groups, your wives groups, your singles groups, your sister groups, everything that you got going on. This book can make it pop even more. I love you guys. If it's time for you to work with me, honey, click that link, reach out. Let's make some magic happen and let's get you thriving and showing up like the badass that you truly are. In the meantime, I will be back tomorrow. I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about tomorrow, but I feel like I need to do another live with you all because I'm an introvert who's extroverting right now. So I'm here for it. Y'all here for it. Let's make it work, right? Mwah. Thank you for being a part of the Healing One journey, a part of the Healing One community. And I will talk to you soon, guys.